everybody, I'm Jane and welcome to our YouTube channel. Usually here we break the news regarding teaching English, and that's why today we're about to bring up such topic as ESL speaking activities for adults. Probably if you have teaching experience, you understand that teaching adults is different thing in comparison with teaching children. And it's highly unlikely that your older students are going to sing together or even dance in a class. Definitely you need to come up with some relevant ideas how to involve them in a learning process. So that's the thing that we are going to discuss today. So if you want to know more, keep watching. But before we start talking about important things, let me remind you that this video is made for international certification. If you want to know more about us, go to our website TEFL Here's the thing. Speaking activities might be absolutely different depending on the skill that you are going to train. So there are a lot of options how you can train speaking and one more skill simultaneously. That's why I've decided to divide today's topic into 3 groups. The first one is vocabulary review, which will help you students to memorize new words and phrases and use them right away in speaking. The second one is grammar-oriented activities, which will help your student to use English tenses appropriately in a speech. And the last one is conversation games, which will help your students to respond quickly and take a speech. So if you are ready, let's get started and talk about all of them in detail. One of the most difficult problems that English learners face is memorizing vocabulary. Not only is it hard to memorize new collocations and phrasal verbs, but also to use them freely in speaking. By the way, it takes at least 15 times to come across a new word in order to memorize it and use it. That's why we as English teachers have to come up with new ideas and situations which can provoke our students to use vocabulary in a particular situation. So let's get familiar with light-hearted ideas that you can use in order to organize vocabulary games. So the first game is Alias. Truth be told, this game is quite popular around the world, so I'm pretty sure that almost everyone knows the rules. However, I'll explain. So a student takes a card with a word in it, and he must explain the word without naming it. So he can use antonyms, synonyms, and even relative clauses to express situation or anything that can relate to the word, while other participants must guess what the word is. So a student who guessed the word is the next speaker. And by the way, there are a lot of advantages of this game because you can buy cards. You can use them online or offline depending on the way you teach. And moreover, you can make such cards on your own depending on vocabulary that you taught your students. Password is a fun game for beginners. So divide your students into small groups where one representative from each team must think of at least 5 passwords for a secret file. While he is given hints to other participants of his team, others must guess and name all words that pop up in their minds in order to win. The team which guessed most of words is the winner, and by the way, you can use this game regarding any vocabulary topic that you've taught your students, like animals, colors, flowers, and etc. So it's such kind of help for your students to recall necessary vocabulary. So the game's categories looks like a vocabulary mind map. Depending on a topic that your students have learned recently, you determine how many categories will be. For example, the last lesson was devoted to animals, so there are 2 branches of it, like wild and farm animals. So divide your students into 2 teams and assign them to write down as many words as they can to fill in each category. The rule is to play against the clock, and despite the fact that participants are adults, they will have fun. Drilling exercises are important in order to train grammar rules in English, but it may lead to another problem like how to use them freely in speaking. That's why a lot of intermediate students get stuck. They may know conditionals and even past perfect tense, however, when it comes to speaking, they try to do everything in order to avoid using such grammar. So that's why teachers' mission here is to show how many situations exist in life which require particular grammar. Usually such games don't imply teachers' comments or corrections. Just observe and take some notes what was the most difficult part in a task for your students. And then you can draw students' attention to common mistakes or difficulties. But be careful, don't name people who made mistakes, because when it comes to getting feedback, people tend to take it to heart. The game Alibi perfectly fits a lot of English topics such as crimes, past perfect, past continuous, and even past simple. So that's a good way to train coherence and understanding. There is a role play where some students are police and others are suspects. Also, you need to prepare a situation to describe what happened. One group should brainstorm to come up with questions that another group must answer. And if you have no time to prepare situations, there are a lot of templates on the internet. Another way to check grammar knowledge is having an interview. So ask your students to choose any person they admire and assign them to write down at least 10 questions about information that they would like to know about him. And I like this exercise because of its flexibility. So you can simplify it for elementary students, helping them and providing them with question words like when, why, and where, and etc. Then pair your students up where each student answers the questions he wrote, assuming the person he was planning to interview. The game Would You Rather is a brilliant idea how to train the second conditional. Provide some situations and options like, would you rather be a miserable millionaire or a happy homeless? Or would you rather have a cat or dog? And students have to paraphrase such examples, explaining their choice using the second conditional. Conversation activities are supposed to encourage students to speak English, paying attention to fluency rather than grammar. We know that learning grammar rules seems to be boring, and it takes some efforts and time to use it right away in a speech, but this speech is prepared. That's why we as teachers have to come up with live examples and situations where students can demonstrate their ability to speak spontaneously. By the way, the task must relate to students' goals and interests, and moreover, there are a lot of different ways where you can get interesting and relevant materials for your adult students. Use social media platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube. That's a wonderful tool where you can get a lot of examples from original TV and game shows. When it comes to teachers' responsibilities, you shouldn't interrupt or paraphrase or even correct your students while they are speaking, because the focus here is fluency rather than grammar or vocabulary. Just listen to your students and take some notes. Video talk is a good way how you can combine two skills at once, listening and speaking. Also, choose a video on the internet or YouTube relevant to the last topic that you've gone through, and highlight keywords that can help your students to answer two types of questions that you have to prepare in advance: preview discussion questions and post-watching questions. So that's a good way how your low-level students can expand vocabulary. That's a good idea to organize debating club if you wanted to show your students how to use linking words in real life. Also, you should prepare some controversial topics in advance, like health, environment, love, or etc. Also, make some sentences about them, like money makes people happy, or zoos should be banned. Then pair your students up and give them cards with assignment. For example, one student agrees with the statement while another disagrees. So both students must explain their opinion using linking words to sound polite. Dictation is a good way how to combine a lot of different skills at once: listening, reading, writing, and even speaking. Also, it's kind of pronunciation game. So you just need to choose appropriate text depend on your student's level, and then pair your students up where one team member must read the story, memorize it, and retell to his partner. So the partner is supposed to write down everything that he has heard. And the pair which restored the story precisely is the winner. So, as you see, even older students don't mind letting their hair down. You just need to take into account their interests, hobbies, and find relevant information that can spark motivation in their eyes. Teaching English requires not only perfect knowledge of the language, like vocabulary, grammar, and other important things, but also understanding your students' feelings, fears, and mistakes. Language acquisition might be daunting and time-consuming. That's why our mission is to do everything in order to help students to have fun. That's why it's important to understand what materials might relate to students' interests. And if you struggle to choose appropriate activities for your students to each lesson, I highly recommend you to enroll in online TEFL TESOL course. You will get familiar with different learning approaches and become better at making lesson plans. Also, this international certificate will help you to travel and teach English around the world. So now you have a chance to purchase an online TEFL TESOL course at 50% discount. Just go to our website, TEFLTESOLcertification.com, to check all details. Now I hope you understand that even older students love playing games as well as children. You just need to come up with fresh ideas how to conduct such situations which can provoke particular vocabulary or grammar in speaking. Thank you everyone for watching this video till the end. I hope you found it useful and valuable. And if you have any questions regarding teaching English, please feel free to write them down in the section below. We will be glad to answer. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you the next time. Have a good day.